gardening.com, and I'm not doing a gardening video today. I'm doing a cooking video, and the simplest kind of cooking video you can imagine. I'm gonna do a video on how to make popcorn. And why am I doing a video on how to make popcorn? I suppose some people actually do grow popping corn in their garden. I don't do that. But one of the things I like to do in the cooking videos is show people how to cook things that, from what I see people buying in the grocery store, no one seems to know how to make anymore. And the proliferation of microwavable popcorns and easy to pop popcorn products and all that sort of stuff in the marketplace, in the grocery stores, and people's seeming preference for those as opposed to just making popcorn the old-fashioned way is mystifying to me, because it's so easy to make popcorn, and I think it's just an art that's been lost. So what kind of I basically use the cheapest no-name, pop your own popcorn you can buy. It's like $1.99 for a kilogram of it. I use a wok, and I'm going to turn it on. Basically, the process is you put the wok on the burner. You can use this with a pan as well. Basically something that's not Teflon, something that can take high heat. You're going to put it on the burner, you're going to put a certain amount of oil in, you're going to turn it up on max, and you're going to put a couple kernels in until they pop. Here, come on, I'll show you. Alright, so I got the wok on the burner. I'm going to put the burner on high, and I'm going to put, let's say 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in here. Use whatever type of vegetable oil you prefer, and if you want to write and give me a lecture or a giant treatise on which oil is the right one to use, I'm not going to read it. So that's the purpose of the video, is to teach people how to make popcorn, not to open a discussion on which oil is the right one. Put 2 or 3 kernels in here, okay? Let's say 3. And I have it on high. So what I'm doing, the trick to making popcorn is having the oil the right temperature, neither too hot nor too cold, at the right time. That's the key to making popcorn in this way. And the way you figure out what that temperature is you let the popcorn tell you when the temperature is right. So I've got this thing on high, I've got my couple kernels in here, and what I'm going to do is, once one of these kernels pop, and this would work for any sort of thing you've got, right? Once one of these kernels, and generally speaking, that temperature on my stove is, like, my dial goes from 0 to 10, I guess, and the 7 setting seems to be the right setting on this particular burner, and every burner is different. So every burner on this stove, 7 on this burner is like a 5 on the one adjacent to it. They're all a little bit different. But anyway, once the kernel pops, the oil's the right temperature to pop popcorn. So that's when I add my popcorn and I turn it down to 7. I could start the thing off at 7, but it just comes up to, it gets to that heat a lot quicker if I have it on max, right? So all I'm going to do right now is wait until these pop. And then once they pop, I'm going to put the popcorn in and I'll take it from there. So I'm just going to fast forward this and back with you in a minute. Alright, so these are starting to pop right now. It's important not to go anywhere near this until all 3 have popped, because when they pop, they throw up a little bit of oil when it's open like this. You can put the lid on, I suppose, but basically wait until all 3 have popped, otherwise you're going to get some oil in your face, which is not nice. But that one should go any second now. And then we can add the popcorn. While that's happening, I guess I should there we go. So I should specify that you want to use an oil that has a high smoke point. So I'm going to turn this down to 7. So that is to say, you're not going to want to use butter or something like olive oil. You want something that will take a high temperature. I believe this is a combination of soy and canola oil. How much popcorn should you put in for that amount of oil? For me, it's about the amount I can fit in my ham, which I think is about 1/3 of a cup, give or take. Let's give that a bit of a roll around. I got to turn down to 7, because for me that's about 3/4 from max, I guess. And I put this lid on. Actually, this you see how this lid fits kind of funny in the pan, and this is actually a mixing bowl that I bought at a yard sale and put like a cupboard door handle on it because I wanted something this size. And it's great also because I can use this as the bowl I eat the popcorn out of as well, so I don't have to clean it, right? Because usually when you're eating popcorn, it doesn't sit properly on the ground. But usually when you're eating popcorn, the popcorn is sitting in your lap, right? So it's a lot easier. It's just less things to clean up, right? So yes, the popcorn is popped, and the popcorn has told me that it's time to make popcorn. The oil is just right. You lower the temperature a little bit to 7, put a lid on, and let it set. And you notice, like, people will say you got to keep shaking it and keep shaking it. No, you don't. I mean, you do have to shake it a little bit, but not continuously, right? There's popcorn in there. It's sitting around, and I just leave it. And once it starts to pop, I'll give it a couple shakes. But you don't have to continually move it back and forth. I mean, I make this all the time. You just don't have to do that. At least with a wok, you don't have to do that. So you notice the instant we put the kernels in, they didn't start to pop. And that's because those kernels actually have to come up to the temperature. So the oil is the right temperature, but the kernels I added have to come up to the temperature of that oil, which is just the right temperature for them to pop, right? So that's starting to happen now. Another thing, while that's happening, once you've made your popcorn, you want to put some salt in it. And I have found, so this is salt. This is just regular sort of iodized table salt. But I have found that I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this is extraordinarily fine. What I've done is just take an ordinary, regular iodized table salt and put it in a coffee grinder and ground it into a fine powder. And by doing that, it sticks to the popcorn. You ever make popcorn? There's all this salt in the bottom of the pot or the bowl you got the popcorn in? It doesn't stick right. So when you take the salt and put it in a coffee grinder and grind it until it's almost like a flour, like that sort of texture, very fine, or like icing sugar, I guess. You sprinkle that over the popcorn, it sticks really well. And you don't need to use as much salt, but you get a good, if you like your popcorn salty, it gets a good salty taste. All right, so we're popping a little bit here. I'm just going to give this a shake, just to move it around a little bit. So you notice it's not going crazy, but it is popping, and it's at just the right temperature for everything to happen, and that's the key. And I don't know if you've made popcorn yourself and you find that there's all kinds of like unpopped kernels or half-popped kernels in the bottom of the bowl when you're done eating it, or they break your teeth, or you've got a certain number of burned kernels, and that's a problem, right? So using this approach solves that problem. Right? Now that the critical mass, I mean, every kernel has a different sort of amount of heat it needs to pop. They're all unique, just like your fingerprint. But, on average, there's a certain temperature they need. You can hear there's a lot of popping action going on right now. It's because the bulk of the kernels are at that temperature they like. And take a little look there, but they're not done yet. I'm just going to turn it down a tiny touch. I mean, I've turned it from 7 to like 6.8. I find it's useful just to turn it a little nudge. The longer the metal sits on the element, the more heat it picks up. So you have to continually, I find anyway, for things like this where you're holding in a constant temperature, continually just slightly adjusting down to keep things from getting too hot. Okay, we're popping really good. Make it another shake. What I do is I let it go until it sounds like it's slowing down. And once it sounds like it's starting to really slow down, it's still going right now, there's still popping happening. But once the number of pops per second or whatever starts to decrease, I turn the burner off and just keep moving it around a little bit and let it shake. So I think we're starting to hit the sort of the peak of the popping action now, and we're starting to fall down the other side. And the frequency, pops per second, is going down. Give it another shake there. You leave it on too long, you're going to burn it, right? Okay, we'll turn the burner off because it's slowed right down. It's done. All right, so I'm going to take it off, leave it for a couple seconds. All right, good. Now, what I'm going to do now is take the popcorn and just put it into this into this bowl. Try not to get too much on the floor. I'm normally not doing this on camera. All right. So if you if you are a person who likes to have butter on your popcorn and that sort of thing, this is the time to just putting this lid in a mug because of that knob sticking out the bottom. This is the time to go about doing that because the pan isn't, we've turned the heat off. The pan still has enough heat to melt butter, but it's not going to burn it. And this is just that vegan margarine stuff because I'm one of those hopeless lactose intolerant people. So I'm going to pour this, I'll do it this way so you can see, pour the butter over the popcorn, then put the whole thing back in the wok because it's just so much easier to mix the popcorn in the wok, right? Because you can use that the capacity of the wok to, flip things like that. Okay, now we got that. Now you apply the salt. I've found like 2 good pinches spread, sort of evenly about the top. Then a toss. I like my popcorn salty, so I would say probably in total I'd probably put almost a teaspoon on the whole thing by the time I'm done with my salting, and some people might find that appalling, but that's the way I like it. I mean, this isn't something you eat every day, or it shouldn't be. So I consider popcorn like a junk food, right? So I want to watch a good movie or whatever, and this time of year it's a good time to do that. Or if you're making your popcorn garland on a Christmas tree, whatever. This is so much cheaper than buying microwave popping popcorn, and it also doesn't taste like styrofoam. All right, so there you have it. Popcorn, just the basics, salt, little butter, little popcorn. You can change the ingredients as you see fit or what your preferences are and so on. The whole point of the video is to just say if you have ever thought it was difficult to take a pan and some oil and make popcorn the old-fashioned way, it's not hard, it's really easy, and it's cheap and it tastes great. So I guess the taste test. Yeah, it's crunchy, and it's salty, and it's fake buttery. So to me that's good popcorn, and hot and warm. Oh, I guess I should say, and why do I use a wok to make the popcorn? You don't have to use a wok. You can use any pan that is sort of capable of taking high temperatures, above medium. So I wouldn't use Teflon for this, unless you've got a Teflon that can handle that. I just like basically a cast iron or carbon steel pan. I like using a wok because, like a bowl, it's, everything falls to the bottom. So really you don't have to use as much heat and electricity because you're basically just heating the very bottom of the bowl. So all the oil is down there, and all the kernels that are unpopped just naturally fall to that hot oil cooking area, right? So a wok is just a natural thing to, a naturally efficient, effective means to cook popcorn. I've done it in fry pans, I've done it in, lots of different, done it in pots, I've done it in lots of different things, but I find with a fry pan and a pot, of course, the whole bottom has to be covered in oil. So if you're using a fry pan or a pot, I find you have to use more oil to get a good coating. Whereas with a wok, a couple tablespoons will put like maybe, a quarter inch of oil in the bottom. So you've got a nice sort of vat of boiling hot oil to get all the stuff popping. So that's why I use a wok. You don't have to, but that's why I use a wok. I know people are going to ask the question. So forgive me if I got any popcorn in my teeth here, but if you found this video interesting, please like, share, subscribe. I got other cooking videos, and of course I got lots of gardening videos. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com. Until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden, have fun in your kitchen, have fun eating popcorn this holiday season. Thanks for watching.